Most people will spend years, decades, or entire lifetimes trying to build their dream body, trying to get in impeccable shape, and most people never achieve it. There's also a lot of people who don't even try. So first of all, kudos to you if you are trying to get in shape. But the main reason most people never reach their potential, and they spend their entire lives in this constant pursuit and like a dangling carrot on a treadmill, never getting to experience what it feels like to truly operate their highest potential, is because of consistency. But why? Why do people struggle to stay consistent as they're getting leaner, as they're going to the gym? Why do people struggle to maintain their diet, to maintain their workouts? And you see, I get it. You're somebody who wants to be well in all areas of life. You don't really care to be bodybuilder lean. You don't want to be stage lean and be peeled off like a freaking, I don't even know, I don't know what you look like. But you don't want to be the top 0.001% of your physique and be that lean. But you do want to reach the top 2% of your physique. You want to have visible abs, definition in your muscles, look and feel your absolute best. But every time you start to make progress, you fall off track. In order for yourself to make the same changes that I have and over 500 people that I've helped make this change and achieve their dream body, you're going to have to learn how to survive the transition phase. And that's what we're going to be covering in this video. You see, when you're trying to get leaner, you're going to have to be in a calorie deficit, which means you're going to have to burn more calories than you consume. And naturally, as you're burning more calories than you're consuming, you're going to lose a little bit of what looks like muscle mass. If you're eating less calories, that's likely going to mean you're also eating less carbohydrates. And I'm emphasizing the hydrates because the reason they're called carbohydrates is because they hydrate your muscles. So if you're eating less calories, you're also eating less carbohydrates. Your muscles are going to be holding less water. And what do you think happens when your muscles are holding less water? They're going to shrink. They look like they're shrinking because they're holding less water. So naturally, if you are trying to lose weight, you're trying to get leaner, you're going to look smaller in the short term. In addition to looking smaller, you're likely going to feel weaker. Why? Because you're eating less calories, right? What happens when you eat less calories? By the way, what is a calorie? A calorie is simply a unit of energy. So the less calories you eat, the less energy you're going to have. So naturally, if you have less energy, you're going to be weaker. That's a side effect. It's just going to happen. Now, you're not actually losing strength. You're just giving your body less energy to perform that same movement. This is where most people give up. They feel themselves getting weaker. They think they're actually losing all the strength they've worked so hard for. They see their muscles, what looks like shrinking in the mirror, and they feel like they're losing all the muscle they worked so hard for. So they give up right then and there. Their mind says, whoa, we're going backwards. They think they're making a wrong decision here. They think they're going in the wrong direction here. So they quit and they go right back to their old ways. But you should be losing very minimal, if not any, muscle mass while you're in this calorie deficit, especially if you're eating the right amount of protein. But you will have this illusion of smaller muscles and you will temporarily lose your strength because you're consuming less calories. This transition phase where you're feeling a little bit weaker and you're looking a little bit deflated is where most people give up. So now I want to share a story with one of my clients. We'll call him Jim. And he has a real name. This is a real client. I'm just not going to use his real name because he hasn't really given me permission to talk about him. But great guy, one of my best transformations, one of my best testimonials. But we'll call him Jim in this video. And Jim was a fantastic athlete in high school. When he was in high school, he was a big, strong, 6'2", 225-pound linebacker. Big, strong guy. Could have went and played college. This guy was an animal. But after he stopped playing sports, got into the workforce, started building his career, he's gained about 50 pounds. He had titties like a freaking woman and a beer gut that was out of control. He had completely lost himself. He completely lost touch with the man he knew he once was, with the man that he know he still can be. So skipping ahead, the first 12 weeks were pretty smooth. We got him on track. He lost 25 pounds in that first 12 weeks pretty consistently, without any hiccups. But then around week 15, 16, week 14 to 16, somewhere around that range is where you hit a strict plateau. He just stopped losing weight. And he didn't just stop losing weight and keep doing the same things. He stopped losing weight because he started self-sabotaging. He started eating crap and skipping his steps. And I would ask him, Jim, Why are you all of a sudden missing your meals? Why are you all of a sudden eating stuff that I'm telling you not to eat? Why are you all of a sudden skipping your steps? What is going on? And we'd have these conversations over our one-on-one calls, and I'd ask him, like, where did this come from? What is going on, bro? You're looking fantastic. You're doing great. And he would say that he didn't know, but in reality, I knew exactly what was happening because the same thing has happened to me. He was having an identity conflict. He had this old version of himself that he knew should and could be strong. Because don't get me wrong, he still had a solid base of muscle underneath. And he did not want to lose this muscle. He wanted to keep the muscle and the strength that he had and also build that muscle and strength, of course. And he simultaneously wanted to get leaner. So, of course, as he started to lose weight, lose body fat, his muscles appeared to be smaller. He felt like he was getting weaker. So when he would go out and he trained really hard, and just because the half of him that wanted to lose weight would make him train really hard and try to get all of his steps in, he would then self-sabotage himself with a terrible high-calorie meal, a very bad meal, because on the other end, he didn't want to lose his muscle. And he thought that he was losing his muscle, losing all the strength that he'd worked so hard to gain. He was plateauing because he had this internal conflict that made him have to think that he needed to choose between being lean and looking and feeling his best, and choosing between that and being big, strong, and muscular. But that's where he was wrong. He did not have to choose. And the shift that allowed him to overcome this mental barrier that was holding him back from getting as lean as he wanted was simply him understanding his own psychology. He had to understand, not even psychology, but also biology. He had to understand what was happening. He thought that when he was looking like he was losing muscle because his muscles were shrinking, he thought that his muscles were actually shrinking, when in reality, they were just losing water as he was taking in less carbs. And he thought that because he was eating less food, he was losing his strength. He would try to overcome that with the bigger meals, try to maintain his strength and maintain his muscle while simultaneously losing fat. So over the next few weeks, I drilled into his head what was actually happening to him. And what was actually happening was he wasn't losing muscle or losing strength. It was simply his body doing what it's supposed to do, doing what it's designed to do. So he trusted me. Long story short, he trusted me, he listened to me, and after 4 weeks of no progress, he realigned with that core mission, that core purpose, and he followed the frameworks that I gave to him. And then he lost 25 pounds over the next 14 weeks. It took a little bit longer to get that back half off. Anybody, quick side fact here, when you first start losing weight, the weight's going to come off a lot quicker in the beginning. And the more weight you lose, the harder it's going to be, or the longer it's going to take to get the last few pounds off. So it took like 14 to 16 weeks to get the last 25 pounds off. But regardless of that, he eventually achieved his desired outcome. He got down to about 195, lost a total of 50 to 55 pounds. And when he was here, he did look a little bit smaller. He felt a little bit weaker. So all we did was take his carbs, take his overall calories back up to maintenance levels. His muscles filled back out, and also his strength returned. He gained that 5 pounds back of water weight, by the way, just water weight, and looked and felt better than he had ever imagined he could ever feel. This mental roadblock he had, not understanding the transition phase and what happens when your body is trying to get leaner, what is actually going on, it set him back about 6 weeks. But eventually, since he kept showing up, he reached his desired outcome. And now he's happier and healthier and more confident than he's ever been. And Jim still works me to this day just to keep his mind sharp, because it's likely it's bound to happen. You know, as you're making changes, as he's continuously trying to level up, he wants to keep his mind sharp. And sometimes having that environment around, not sometimes, having that environment, that person to hold you accountable, is always going to bring you up to a higher level in your potential. So if you're somebody who is trying to get stronger and leaner, if you want to make this change forever and you want to stop making progress and then falling back and then making progress and falling back, you're going to have to learn to survive this transition phase. You're going to have to be willing to accept that you're not going to look perfect throughout the process of getting leaner. You're going to feel like you look a little bit smaller. You're going to feel a little bit weaker. That's part of it. You want to get leaner. You want to burn off your body fat and get rid of the beer gut, the love handles, and the titties. But you also don't want to get weak throughout the process. You don't want to lose your muscle. And that's fair. And I'm here to tell you that you do not have to choose. You don't have to choose between being strong or being muscular versus being lean. You just have to be willing to survive and accept this process, understand what's going on throughout this journey. And I promise you, if you make it through that transition phase, you will have so much more clarity and so much more understanding over what's happening with your body that you'll be able to consistently make progress for years and years on end. So if you need help with this, I'm going to have 30 mindsets that you can take in 30 days. So this is just a 30-day email course. It's 30 mindsets. They're going to help you build, one, the knowledge to get in the best shape of your life, but also help you develop and instill the mindset that's going to make you be able to achieve these results and maintain them for the rest of your life, even while building a highly demanding career, something that demands a higher level of your performance in your profession. So if you want these 30 mindsets to become a peak performer in your body and in your occupation, click the top link in the description of this video. I'll send that first email, that first lesson over to you immediately. And all you got to do is read those over the next 30 days and you will make a change. Regardless, I appreciate you watching. I hope you learned something that you can take into your life to start acting on right now and put it in your notebook, write it down, put it on your wall. And I hope you come back to the next video.